All right, here is a speed run of Vlookie-teur, like saboteur, but for Vlookie. One of the quarterfinal case from the Excel Esports. All right, so the first one, was a sum of an XLOOKUP. Just looking this stuff up. And add it up, and that's it for level 1. Here we need to know what the correction. I don't know if these count as pipes, but I'm going to call them pipes. So I think they're pipes. I think they look like pipes, even though they're mine tunnels. All right, so the connections are over here. Well, actually, I'm going to do a couple things to this first. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of these semicolons, make it a little easier. And what about these? What connections do they have? Well, they can connect to like the top or to the left, but not to the bottom or right. I do not want them to connect to each other because that will mess up the bonuses. But it's fine for them to connect to the top and the left. So now I can just look up, these on here. I can use my string to array to add these all up. So it's just some of that. All right, now pipe from, pipe to, and direction. All of these, the direction is the arrow to the right, right? And the froms is going to be this group, and then as a column, and then the twos is going to be from the second one to the last one, right? So now I got those pairs, and in this direction is always the same. So now this is, is move okay? This is like the heart of everything. So I'm gonna make a lambda to use for all the levels, right? So it's just these 3 inputs, right? Pipe from, pipe to, and the direction. I need to know what the directions, right? So it's top left, bottom right. So top is 1, left is 2, bottom 3, right 4. So all this, let reverse direction is rotate arrow of the direction by 4 45-degree arrows, because I got to know it's got to accept one, and it's the second tile has to accept it in the opposite direction as the first tile has to give it, right? So the direction out number, right, is XLOOKUP the direction on these arrows returning the number. All right, and then the direction in number, the one you have to accept, right, is based on the same thing with the reverse direction. So pipe, out connections is XLOOKUP of the from pipe on here, returning here. Go ahead and give me an error if it's not a pipe, because I actually want that. The pipe in connection is, the 2, 1. Those are the connections it has, right? So is the The move is okay. So are we okay to go out? So we're okay to go out if the out connections, the out direction, times 1, if that's a 1, right, then that means we can go out in that direction. We're okay to go in, right, is based on the pipe's incoming directions, and it's based on that direction. So then the final thing, right, and if it's not a pipe, just give me an error. That's fine. Otherwise, I want the minimum of okay out and okay in, because they both have to be okay. So if both of them are okay, then give me 1, otherwise 0, right? And then if it's an error, then 0. If it's not a pipe or whatever, then that's fine. All right, so now the 3 inputs are just right here, the pipe from, the pipe to, and the direction. And hopefully 10 of those are true, and they are, which means I did it right, hopefully. I'll stick this in my name manager because I'm going to use it on all the other levels. So we'll call this what? Move OK. And I'll put this in here. So this lets me, I'll give it pipe from, pipe to, and direction. And it tells me if it's okay or not. This level is done. Quick check, 280, nice round number. All right, so level 4, we're going to go on an arrow trip. This is a lambda I have. You can download all these lambdas at the link in the description, by the way. This whole file, right? So of the game board, actually, I'm going to give the game board a name because I'm going to need to refer to it a lot, I bet. So from there to there, I'll just call the board. Right, so arrow trip on the board, starting here in this direction. Just gives me, the address and the pipe. This, is pipe from. Pipe to is the next one. And the direction's always the same, right? And note these are the same inputs we had in the last level. So I just need to know move OK. Let's move OK from here to here in this direction. And as soon as we get a 0, that means we're done, right? Because you hit the wall if you get 0. So we just XLOOKUP 0 on the addresses. I think that should be level 4, right? Yep. Now for level 5, we're going to apply this to a whole row or column, right? So I'm going to put this in the same form I had before, right? So if this equals column, then it's going to be the letter and 3 is where it starts, row 3. Or it's going to be B and the row number, right? Because it starts with B at whatever. So that's the address we start in. And then the direction is if that is a column, then we're going to go, right? We're going to start in B3 and go down. Otherwise, we're going to go to the right. So now just do that there. Then the direction is here. All right, so now I need to know if there is a streak here. I want to start, right? So the streak is here, and then this move OK. Is based on that one being correct. I think this is right. So if that is okay, right, then this plus 1, otherwise 1. And then if I do the max of this, that should give me the longest streak, which does. All right, then in level 6, we're going to go in a direction as long as we can, right? So let's just move this over a bit, right? And I'm going to say, so here's my start is here. And then the move cursor, right? What move am I on? I start with move number 1. Then there's the direction. So I look up the cursor on here, returning here. And then I'm going to look ahead to see if I do move, where do I end up, right? So arrow move of this in this direction. That's where I would end up. So now I've got pipe from and pipe to, right? So pipe from is the address lookup of the board with that first pipe. This is the other pipe. So now I need to know, I already know the direction. I'm going to look to see if the move is okay. And this could take a long time, right? So as a guide, I'm just going to put, I don't know, 300 moves maximum should be plenty. All right, so move okay. Is this move okay? Well, let's check move okay. So move okay using from, to, and that direction. And then I also need to see if I've hit the treasure, right? So exists on the treasure list here. Right, I'm just going to see if looking ahead would take me to the treasure. And so it's game over if or we've hit the treasure, or if and, right, we're on move number 10 and we can't move. If we get blocked from move number 10, then there's no 11 to move from, so game is also over in those cases, so 1 other 0. Then what cell do we end on? Well, if the move was okay, then we go to the new cell, otherwise we stay at the old cell. This just gets carried over, and then if the move was okay, then we keep going in this direction, otherwise we look at the next move. All right, rest of this should be good already, I think. Let's see. So we get game over on CX92. That's a good sign, right? So we look up 1 on game over, looking at the end cell here. Hopefully that is level 6. All right, level 7. I'm going to do, you could do circular references. I'm going to try, I've got a little Python Dijkstra thing I'm going to try to use. So first I've got to set up a node table. So my nodes are based on the board, right? So just x2call of the board, it's here. And I want to cross this with the directions, right? So it's going to be these addresses, and I'll put a separator in, and these directions, right? I'll make this a row, so they'll go sideways, right? So now I've got this array here that's got every move and every possible move. All right, so to call all this, and what? So this is the starting node, this is the direction, this is the ending node, this is pipe from, pipe to, and this is move okay. So X text split here by this, right, as a row, please. And then the ending cell, right, is arrow move from here in that direction. Now you look up the pipes, headers look up on the board. The first one, same thing for the other one, and then in this case, I mean, there's no pipe in B1, so that's correct. So is the move okay? Is the move okay? The from, the to, and the direction, right? So, we'll see if this wants to crash Excel if I do this 40,000 times. Worked before. Doesn't want to highlight for some reason. Yeah, this was going a little weird before. Maybe it's because of having this now. Now Excel's getting a little funky here. All right, just take this, you know, like, come on, guys, copy this down like normal. All right, what if I go here to the bottom and then I copy it up? Is that gonna trick you into doing it? Doesn't want to highlight that many cells, but it will fill them in. All right, there we go. This hopefully will only take a second. Probably should use the built-in text split instead of my Lambda text split. But no, this looks right. All right, I don't want it to keep calculating that, so I'm gonna paste values there. And now I want start, end, and cost, and this is going to be the input for Dijkstra's algorithm, right? So filter the start by whether the move is okay, filter the end by whether the move is okay, and the cost is 1, right? It costs 1 to go from B2 to B3, it costs 1 to go from D2 to etc. Always costs 1 to move. All right, so now I'm ready to play the Dijkstra game. So I have this set up down here, right? So if I just bring this here, let's say, and make it Python. Now I can hopefully even see the function signature, so I know what to type. Do it like this. There you go. All right, so equals pi route on graph. So the df for the graph we just made. Start, end, and cost. And then, yeah, I know, I'm not done yet. And then the starting is always B2. And the end, give me every end. I'm leaving end blank, so that way it'll tell me every single end. All right, so there we go. Some of them may be non-reachable, which is correct. So just look up. I don't want this to be. Sometimes Python can be volatile, so I'm just going to paste values that. Because I should have everything else I need to solve the case now. So now it's just look up this. On this, I have to add 1 because the starting cell normally doesn't count, but the instructions say it does this time. So you got to count the starting cell. And that's looking promising. All right, so now we should be able to do everything. Up here, 1,000 points so far. How many resources are there in the mind? Well, you know, just take a quick, not the name manager, macros, yeah. Take a quick look at frequency table. That's a resource. These are resources. Looks like 119. Longest straight tunnel, so now we got to do 5 for everything, for every row and every column, which is a little annoying, but hey, you know, that's what they want. That's what we're going to get. All right, so let's do, I want to have column and row let's say I have all of the column numbers, right? And these are the row numbers, right? So we'll call that row something. And then these are called call something. And I need all the column numbers to show up, all the column letters show up where they belong, like that. Just, make these into a single thing. I mean, I could make this a two-dimensional what if table, but nah, it's easier. So now if I do this, so instead of this is going to be based on this cell here, right? So this is backwards also. Let's do A and B. So now I just text split this thing. Nope, it's not backwards. It was right before. I shouldn't have switched it. All right. There we go. So now that is a data table based on this. Data table. That's weird. Why does it think those are the answers? Those aren't the answers. 8 is the answer. All right. Highlight this and do this data table based on the column input cell being right there. All right, good. So I need to find the highest one first of all, right? Which actually already told me was 18. There it is, column I. So now I got to look at column I and find out where it starts. So where is the big streak? There it is. It starts here at I-47. All right, coin value that Vlookie can reach. All right, so this tells me what he can reach and what he can't. This is the symbol and the coin value. So address lookup on the board of this. And then X lookup of this on here, turning here with 0 if you can't find it. And then, so like this first, and see, it can't make it to this diamond, right? So it doesn't count. So if is error this, then nothing. Otherwise, look up all that. All right, 19822 is the sum of this column. 19822. How many cells are disconnected? Well, that should be doable. How many pipes are disconnected? Well, it's got to be everything with this num error, right? This is just an infinity from Python that Excel treats as a number error. And I only want the ones that are pipes, right? Only pipes count to this, not... Which honestly, you could argue either way, but because I've done this before, I know that only pipes count. And I can see that I have 38 cells collected. You could argue maybe that the resources are part of the mine, I don't know, but disconnected from the system of tunnels. Yeah, I don't know. It's just pipes. All right, how many cells do you have to travel in total to get to all of the treasures? Right, so we'll go back to looking at the treasures that you can reach, right? Which I've already got here in my coin symbol, right? So I get rid of the zeros And just, add this up and multiply by 2 because it's got to be a round trip, right? So 2 times the sum of this because he round trips one at a time and puts each one back. And it's 39,382. I thought it was 39,382. Oh, it's 39,604. Okay, well, what happened? Oh man, come on. This is just a little frustrating. Let's see. How did I get everything else right but that one wrong? That is a little surprising. So if I count, try this just in a new area here, right? So this is the how many cells are needed to travel in total? So if this is greater than 0, then this times 2. Oh no, plus 1, because I forgot to count that's why I forgot to count the thing there, the starting cell. B1 plus 1, right? Because the instructions say you got to count the starting cell, which also may be a little ambiguous, but having done this, it gives you an example, right? That's 166, right? As long as you follow that one, that's the hint to tell you that yes, you do have to count the starting. All right, so that otherwise 0. Because in order for that to be 166, you have to count the starting thing, right? Yeah, there it is, 39,604. 39,604, boom. Boom. Thanks for watching, bye.